welcome everybody. Good morning. It's tax day in Illinois. It's July 15th, and we have the Director of Legislative Affairs with us today. We also have the Legislative Liaison for the Department of Revenue. So they're going to tell us a little bit about what we need to know with tax day. And then at the end, we will answer questions that we've heard from folks, and hopefully that will get everybody lined up so that they can follow the law. So if you guys would like to tell us a little bit about tax day and what does that mean?
Sure. Well, Representative, we appreciate you having us on today. Anytime we can reach out to the public and make sure that they're aware of what the expectations are, the better it is for everybody. And as you indicated, today is tax day. Most of us associate April 15th with tax day, but as with everything in life these days, COVID-19 has thrown us a curveball. So both the federal government and state government have extended the due date for tax filing and tax payments to July 15th, which as you indicated is today. Taxpayers have until midnight tonight to get their tax returns filed, and if they do have a tax liability, to get that paid as well. All options are still available to taxpayers, whether it be a paper return or some other electronic means. Obviously, we always encourage taxpayers to utilize the electronic means if that is available to them. It helps cut down on errors. Therefore, it helps the department to process those returns more quickly. And obviously, for taxpayers that are expecting a refund, we can turn that around more quickly as well.
All right, great. Thank you. And then we also have with us today Ryan Guges here, who is the Legislative Liaison for the Department of Revenue. So we have some questions. First question is, what does your agency handle? So what are the things that you handle?
Well, the Department of Revenue is responsible for collecting all the tax payments that are due to the state of Illinois. So any type of tax that's imposed, for the most part, some local governments have their own taxes that they impose that the department isn't involved in, but the great majority of taxes that are imposed, the Department of Revenue is responsible for processing those returns and collecting those revenues. The three main ones being the individual income tax, corporate income tax, and sales tax. But there are a lot of other additional taxes that we're familiar with, whether it be tax on cigarettes, motor fuel, etc.
Okay, so basically the Department of Revenue then is in charge of collecting any kind of tax and sending it to the comptroller. And then I think you said you do some auditing as well. Is that right?
We do, yeah. So it's part of our compliance initiative. For the most part, the state of Illinois' tax compliance is voluntary, but the audit function allows us to go into taxpayers' businesses and audit to make sure sales taxes are being collected and remitted appropriately. Same thing with corporate and individual income taxes.
I just think it's interesting for our constituents to learn what the different agencies do, because a lot of us know about the agencies, but we really don't know exactly what they do. So it's interesting to me also to find out, so you're the ones in charge of making sure businesses collect taxes the way they're supposed to. So, all right, so today is the tax deadline for Illinois, and is that also the deadline then for the United States taxes?
It is, yes. The IRS also extended the due date for tax filing to July 15th.
Okay, and before we start the rest of our questions, I think I would mention to the constituents, just kind of think in your head that today is like April 15th. So any thought that you would have about, well, what does that really mean? Well, it means the same thing as what it used to mean on April 15th at midnight. So you have until midnight today. So you'll have to put something else off to get this done if you haven't gotten it done yet. All right. What happens if a person is late in filing their state or federal taxes And when I say late now, I mean if it's after midnight tonight.
Yeah, so there are the potential that there will be penalties and interest that will be assessed. So in Illinois, we have both a late filing penalty as well as a late payment penalty. So if you are late in filing your return, there's a penalty associated with that. And if you do owe a liability and are late paying that liability, then there's a late payment penalty in addition to interest that would accrue on the amount of the liability that is due.
Okay, so if you don't pay your taxes today, you know, they say you can avoid everything except for death and taxes. So here we are, and it's tax day. So there are going to be some penalties. There's going to be interest. There's going to be fines. So it's not just one small thing either. Can a person file an extension?
They can. So federally, you have to actively file a document to request an extension federally. In the state of Illinois, we actually have a law regulation in place that allows an automatic extension. So you don't have to fill anything out in Illinois for that extension, and the extension is until October 15th. So even if you plan to take advantage of that extension from a tax filing perspective, if you do have a tax liability, which you need to determine today, and like I said, you do owe money to the state, that does have to be paid. So that extension does not allow you to delay payment, only the filing of the return.
Okay, and let me just kind of put that in some other words too, because I think that could be a little confusing to people. If you owe money, you have to pay the money today, or you're going to have penalties. No way around that. You can file an extension, you can do the paperwork, but you're going to be paying penalties if you don't get it paid today. Okay,
correct.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. Does it cost to file an extension? I guess
It does not, no.
There's really no fee for that. It's
No.
just that if you don't pay your bill, there'll be a penalty.
Exactly.
All right, but like if a person's getting money back from the state and they have to file an extension, there wouldn't be any cost to that, right?
Correct. They're just delaying the receipt of their refund. So yeah, if they're expecting money back, they can take advantage of the automatic extension until October 15th.
Okay.
And wait until then.
And I'm not sure, but I think you mentioned something too about the federal government that you have to do it electronically, and if not, if you do it by paper, it's going to be quite a while before you get your money back. Was that
Yeah,
right?
I had seen a news piece to where the federal government, because of the staffing changes they've had to do to accommodate the pandemic, that they are not currently processing paper returns. So that doesn't mean you can't file a paper return. It just means that there will be a delay in the IRS processing that return when they do have sufficient staff to do so.
Okay. I know people are sitting there and they're thinking, man, I wish he would just sit there and hold my hand and walk me through this whole tax thing. He makes it sound so much simpler than it feels so scary and overwhelming a lot of times. All right, let's see. If I owe the state of Illinois money, when is it due? And it would be due today, is that right?
Due today, correct, yep.
All right. And what happens if you owe the money and you just can't pay it right now? Then what?
Yeah, if you owe the money and you can't pay it, obviously we encourage you to, even if you can't pay the full amount, we encourage you to pay as much as you can if that is an option. If you are unable to, obviously the penalties and interest will kick in after midnight tonight. But we will work with taxpayers to, we understand that they have some challenging economic situations, so we will work with them to try to set up some sort of a payment plan so they can work towards paying that liability down.
Okay, if they do go to a payment plan, will there still be interest and penalties included in that Because it wouldn't be all paid today.
Technically there would be. Taxpayers do have the option to request an abatement of penalties. The department doesn't have the authority to abate interest, but we can abate penalties for reasonable cause. So taxpayers, there's no formal document that they would need to fill out, but they would need to submit something in writing that explains why they were late in paying, and we will review those and process those on a case-by-case basis.
Do you have a dollar amount you can give us of what the penalty is, or is it a percentage, or how do you?
It's a percentage, yeah. So it's 2%, the lesser of $250 or 2% of the tax liability, and that's if it's paid within 30 days. If it is paid outside of the 30 days, then the penalty is 10%. And then, like we said, there's also interest that accrues on that. And that's tied, so the federal government has what's called an underpayment rate. And that's something that they set every 6 months. So it's currently at 3%.
Okay. So that's money you could have to go to the grocery store with if you paid your taxes on time. All right. And what if people have other questions or concerns? How might they contact your office? Ryan,
Well,
that's fine.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you have that, Ryan? Do you have
Yeah, sure. I was going to say we publish a lot of information on the department's website, and that can be accessed at iltax.com. Again, that's iltax.com. And we also have a 1-800 number that taxpayers can contact should they need assistance, and that number actually is 1-800 732-8866. And again, that number is 1-800-732-8866. So we do encourage taxpayers to call that number should they need further assistance.
Okay, I'll just repeat that in case our voices don't all come through well. So it's iltax.com, or you can call 1-800-732-8866. And then also, I believe if they go to iltax.com, there are emails that you can send an email. You can find out what particular email you need from that page as well. Is that correct?
That is correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, there is and in particular on the homepage of the website, there's a link to COVID-19 resources.
Oh.
And so if they click on that, it will take them to that page, and they will be easy to find the various email addresses that they can email for their specific need.
So are they allowed to send an email with a specific question that's personal just to them?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys doing this, and I can see that you're really trying to do everything you can to make this as simple and workable for people as we can make it. So thank you for your time today. And today is tax day, July 15th. Make sure you pay by midnight tonight. Thank you to our director and our liaison for the Department of Revenue. So you guys have a great rest of the day, and we really appreciate you being on with us today.
Well, we appreciate you having us, Representative, and having an opportunity to engage with the public to make sure they have this information available to them. So we appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Take care. Yeah.
Bye-bye.